Um, Hi, welcome to this channel. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to tell you my story the way I remember it, exactly how I remember it. Everything that happened from point A to point B. I'm a little nervous, but I plead with you to bear with me. For the purposes of safety, I'm not going to reveal my real identity or where I actually come from, but I'm going to try to keep the locations of these events as real as possible. Unless if they reveal my current location, then I'll omit a few details, but for as long as they don't, the ones far back anyways, I'm going to just say them as they are. So I'm also going to omit the real identities of the people I'm going to be mentioning in this series, and this is your warning. If you have some trauma that you haven't healed from, or if you are sensitive, then please do click off this video before it goes deep, because we are going to go deep. We're going to take a head dive. I would also like to mention that I have never received any form of therapy. I would love to, but I haven't. I don't even know if any type of therapy could help me with the problems that I've had to deal with or my trauma. But I'm just going to share my story. Hopefully someday I can print it out in a book, have the confidence to do that. But for now, I'm just going to record it in a series of episodes. And I advise you to watch, or listen rather, from episode 1 so that you can get the full story of what really happened, how it happened. So let's take a walk together. Dear Diary. So yeah, my parents eventually found us the school, and the time came they relocated to the other end of the country, and they left us in the care of this man and his daughter, right? The daughter who was to take care of me and my older sister, the one that I follow, the one that shielded me from being raped by my older cousin, right? So yeah, that happened. We were taken to this place, and it was in the middle of the bush. The school was located in the middle of the bush. I'm assuming it's because the country was under the poverty line somehow, something to do with poverty, that a lot of the infrastructure was just outdated and old and almost out of reach. So yeah, we were taken to this place. So the first few years, I don't know how long that was, but we were given a house where me and my sister stayed in. So it wasn't really like a house, it was like a room. Okay, let me explain the structure of the whole location, right? So it's this school built in this bush, right? Not far from the border. And try to think of it like a square circumference. Yeah, is it circumference? Yeah. Try to think of it like a square circumference, right? It's in the middle of the bush. It's a square, and inside there's a school built out of cement and brick. You know, the regular cement and brick. And the school compound is also a square layout as well, right? And in the middle, there's a space in the middle where kids used to play and meet for like break time. And then you walk a few meters away from the school, pass a few trees, and then you get to the compound. The compound where the houses were for the staff. And these houses were not built out of cement and brick. No, they were built out of sand and wood. Those who know what I'm talking about, these rural houses. So the roofing was metal, so that was at least better. It wasn't grass straws. It was metal. So you walk into the compound, and the first house you pass by was the director's house, right? The man who offered to take us in. And then you walk a few meters, and you get to this other house where one of our math teacher used to live, and he was like the arms of the compound. If you needed a handyman, he was your guy. If you needed someone to fix your truck, he was your guy. If you needed fixing of anything in the compound, he was the guy. He was like the one that used to exercise, keep fit, and he knew the, survival skills of nooks and screens of almost everything. And then you walk deeper into the compound, and then that's when you finally get to this singular line of houses. They were attached to each other, and they were at the far end of the compound, and before you get to them, there was a clear space in front of them, which was like the area where people would just sit and chill, and basically it was like the yard, right? And then in front of this compound on the left there was that lady's house, right? Her house was on the left, and her house she had her own little garden on the side. Her house was on the left, and then on the left of her house was the garden, right? I need you guys to remember the layout of this compound because it'll be easier to follow. So yeah, that was her house, right, on the left. And then on the right it was just a bush. Later on, years later, they ended up building an actual dormitory, but when we first started, there was nothing in that bush. You on the right, so you just walk through that bush. There was a path that you'd walk through to get to like the river, and that's where we'd get water. This is how it started. There was no electricity in the compound. There was no running water in the compound. So if we needed water, we needed to go to the river. We fetch water and bring it back to the compound and use what we needed, right? And we used to use water sparingly because the trip to the river was far. So basically, yeah, that was the life. And then for light at night, we used candles and these paraffin lamps. Yeah, that's what we used. But the paraffin lamps were like sort of like luxury in a way, but that's what was used mostly. So yeah, the lady's house, right, and the compound house. So this was like the staff houses. And then behind the staff houses, right, behind the long slab, rectangular shape of houses at the end, which were separated by just a wall in between. They were all glued to each other, so it was like you could hear. It was like, I'm not explaining it, but it was just basically, try to draw it if you may. So behind that's where behind it on the right there was the toilet, which was pit latrine toilet, and that's where everybody used to relieve themselves. and on the left behind of this very building, that's where there was a shower compartment. I don't know, outdoor shower made out of straw, river grass straw, and some bamboo sticks, I believe. Yeah, and then on the floor it was paved with a little bit of cement so that people could be able to just walk on there and not overpile the place with too much water. So that was it.